What up? First of all, as always, repping the homeland. Ignore that stain there. Player props. Player props have been good, right? Haven't been doing a great job overall in the season, picking sides. Not a good week. Last week, the one play that did hit was a player prop. Remember the Daniel Jones under passing yards. Then Thursday night game, we had two player props, and they both hit as well. So let's stick with them. First, Daniel Jones again. This time, we're going to go over his passing yards. Over 247 and a half. That's a number I found on Pinnacle Sports. I know most books don't offer player props until the day of the game. So if you guys want a reference, that's the website that I found that number on. Okay, let's look at Daniel Jones' first few games. 336 yards against Tampa. Then he throws for 225 in a blowout win against the Washington Redskins. 182 against Minnesota, sixth passing defense in the NFL. Then 161 against New England, who was first in the NFL in pass defense going into that game. This week, he's playing the Cardinals, who are third last in pass defense. About as bad as Tampa, the game where he threw for 336 yards. The other thing he had in that game was Saquon Barkley. Now, you may think, well, Barkley's going to take the ball out of the hands of Jones. And that may be true. He may not have as many pass attempts, but it's going to open up so many opportunities for him in the passing game because teams now have to stay honest. They can't say we're going to make your running back beat you anymore because your running back is at this point in their careers still likely more respected. I can probably say confidently that at this point in their careers, teams are still going into a game against the New York Giants and saying, let's make that rookie quarterback beat us and not the stud running back, not the guy that we know. Let's make the unknown beat us. So that's going to open up a lot of opportunities for him in the passing game. It's also going to open up a lot of opportunities for him in the play action. He also have Golden Tate and Evan Ingram, his two best receiving options on the field at the same time, which he hasn't had in any of his games. He won't have Sterling Shepard. Would have felt a little bit better if they had him as well. This kid hasn't had all of his weapons in one game at any point. But still, he still has good options at the receiving spot, and he'll have Saquon Barkley, which won't allow teams to double up on receivers. Now, if you think that the New York Giants are going to blow out the Cardinals, you may not like this play. Because if they are blowing them out, he's not going to be passing the ball as much. But I don't think that's going to be the case. Arizona's done, both these defenses are bad, but Arizona's done a really good job of moving the ball. So I expect them to be able to put up points. I expect this to be a back and forth game, really. If you like the over, that probably isn't a bad play either. I'm sticking with the player props. So the first, and it'll be for the 1 o'clock game, over 247 and a half passing yards for Daniel Jones, quarterback of the New York Giants. Second player prop in the afternoon games. I think it's 4:30. Anyway, they're staggered. So for you fiends that love having action throughout the day, you'll have it. Bridgewater, under 221 and a half pass yards. Okay, I think the number's a little bit inflated coming off his previous two games. He threw for 314 against Tampa. We just talked about worst passing defense in the NFL, and Jacksonville, who's slightly below average against the pass, but terrible against the run. And if you watch the game, I was so surprised when I saw that he ended up with 240 yards. I watched that entire game. I was so surprised when I saw that because I was like, this guy wasn't able to do anything in the passing game. But the problem was they were moving the ball so well on the ground that Jacksonville had to sell out to stop the run, and that was opening up space for Bridgewater to get those yards. He's not going to be able to do that against the Chicago Bears, who are much better against the pass than Jacksonville, and obviously very good against the run. So let's look at Bridgewater's games against respectable defenses. Not even great defenses, just respectable. He threw for 165 against the Rams first game, and he came in after the first drive, so he wasn't ready psychologically. Obviously, backups prepare the same way that starters do, but still, we'll give him a pass for that. 177 against the Seahawks, who are not a good defensive team. And then, they're better than some of the defenses that he threw for a high amount of yards against, but they're still not great. Cowboys, 193. None of those defenses are as good as the Bears. Teddy Bridgewater doesn't have big playability. He's not gonna throw an 80-yard pass. The biggest threat to him getting big chunks of yards in the passing game is through screen passes where Kamara just gets loose, goes for 60, 70 yards or something like that. Again, it's gonna be tough for him to do that. Kamara's been banged up the past few weeks, for one, and two, this is a vicious Chicago Bears secondary. If Teddy Bridgewater dips and dunks his way to 225 yards for a third week in a row against one of the best defenses in the NFL, I'll be okay with losing my bet that way. Again, like with the Giants-Cardinals matchup, if you think the Bears are going to blow out the Saints, this is not a play you'll like because Bridgewater will be forced to pass the ball a lot. But I don't expect that. This should be a close game. Two contending teams, two teams that will probably be in the playoffs. The Saints definitely will be in the playoffs. Bears fighting for a playoff spot. Two very well-coached teams. They understand that in a game like this, you can't beat yourself. So I don't imagine they're going to put Teddy Bridgewater in many situations where he could throw an interception or something like that. They'll keep the ball on the ground. They'll keep him in the short passing game. So to me, again, the number's a little bit low. I don't love 221, but like I said, if he's going to dip and dunk his way to 225 and I lose, I'll be okay with it. So second player prop, Teddy Bridgewater under 221.5 passing yards. All right, the last player prop that I have is for the Sunday night game. Maybe not as exciting as the other two. Miles Sanders, number 2 running back for the Philadelphia Eagles. At least he came into the season as the number 2 running back for the Philadelphia Eagles. Over 2.5 pass receptions. Okay. Sanders has been a much bigger part of the passing game in the past 2 weeks. With the absence of Deshaun Jackson, Doug Peterson has started to use Miles Sanders much more as a receiver. He's even lined up as a slot receiver. 2 weeks ago, he caught 4 passes for 59 yards, I think it was. And last week, he caught 3 passes for 83 yards. So he's been very productive in the passing game. So I really don't see how or why all of a sudden Doug Peterson wouldn't be using this weapon that's been so productive over the past few weeks. I don't think that this number is accounting for how much Miles Sanders has become a part of Philly's passing game. And the fact that he was so successful the past few weeks tells me that the likelihood of him getting more opportunities in the passing game is very high. Icing on the cake. No team in the NFL gives up more pass catches to running backs than the Dallas Cowboys. So, final player prop of the day, Miles Sanders over 2.5 pass receptions. I'll read all 3 of them off to you again. Daniel Jones, over 247.5 pass yards. Teddy Bridgewater, under 221.5 pass yards. And Miles Sanders, over 2.5 pass receptions. What I'll say is, because your guys' numbers may be different, if the Miles Sanders is more than 2.5 pass receptions, I'm not touching it. With the yards, you guys know I'm an open book. Feel free to DM me, message me, tell me whatever number it is. If you are a little unsure, you want to know if I still think the play is favorable at whatever number your book has, please feel free to send me a message. Like this video if you like these videos.